Morning, everybody. Doing a follow-up video about the 3 days of darkness. If you look back in history at the Bible, the first Passover was when they put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, and the angel of death could not come and kill the people, the firstborn that was inside the home of the Israelites. And this happened because Pharaoh would not let God's people go. And when I had the 3 days of darkness dream, and I forgot that I deleted that video after it got 50,000 views or something like that. And my most viewed video right now is 5,000 views. So obviously I don't care about views. I deleted that video. The reason I put this stuff out is to get the information out for as many people as want to hear it, not to get popular, not to get money, none of that stuff. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying the reason why. And so, like, they had a conversation, pause. They had a conversation with AI that said that Nimrod is the Antichrist. And I made my most viewed video on my channel right now is that they took the spirit of both Pharaoh. I didn't say Pharaoh in that video, but the Pharaoh part is true, because I've done videos where the Pharaoh that's on the fez hat of the Shriners, which are Masons, is the same Pharaoh that is in like the work of Jonathan Kleck. And I don't agree with everything that Jonathan Kleck says, but some of the things that he talks about with the stuff printed on the money and all that is true. It's very true. There is the line of Cain, which he used to talk about all the time with Zen when they did shows together. And that's how long I've been listening to Zen, is like back when him and Kleck did shows together and stuff like that. And Pharaoh, his spirit is in the body of Obama, along with the spirit of Nimrod, which is why Hillary Clinton's email said that they needed to find the body of Gilgamesh. There are physical things that interact with the spiritual world. And if you'll notice that when they were going into Iraq is when the Mummy movies came out with Brandon Fraser, and they were doing resurrection spells in those movies. It's not a coincidence. Just like the fact that the things that are happening on the news with the school shootings and stuff like that are seen in certain movies that are coming out. And somebody just mentioned this a moment ago, that there's a movie that came out where there's like a picture of little children on like running and like whatever on the front cover. I forget the name of the movie. And this is all Masonic. And Obama is a Freemason. And when you get to the highest echelons of Freemasonry, above the 33rd degree level, you can do double speech, and they can speak backwards. That might sound crazy to you, right? But when Obama says, yes, we can, he's saying, hail Satan. And Satan is our enemy, who had a child with Eve, impregnating her, which is why I said Jesus had to be a virgin and Mary had to be a virgin. And John the Baptist was a virgin. There is something that happened by that union between Satan and Eve when they were praying in the Jordan River, that Jesus then got baptized in the Jordan River, reversing the curse that happened. And then when Jesus died on the cross, he went into the underworld and he saved all those same people, Adam to the thief on the cross, releasing us from the bondage. And the dream that I had telling about the 3 days of darkness was about, I was reading like the Kebra Nagast and a couple other books that talk about, I think it was the Cave of Treasures, that talks about how back in the olden days of Egypt, when they couldn't find the babies they were trying to murder, the male children, they would come and they would have the little babies that were Egyptian, that were like 3 years old, talk in Hebrew. They would teach the babies Hebrew so they could talk to the babies in the walls of the Hebrews' homes to find the babies so they could then murder them. They wouldn't release these people that were there originally, like their friends and neighbors. They wouldn't release them from a 400-year bondage. In fact, when Moses came in, they started making the punishments of everyday life even worse and harder to bear, like try to make brick without straw and all these other things. And so God said, enough is enough. If you don't release my people, you're going to lose all your firstborn children. And I've asked God so many times, how are we going to defeat this enemy? How can we defeat this enemy that is against us? There's too many of them, and they're hidden, and they don't mind murdering us. They don't mind killing us. There's too many people that are brainwashed into thinking that our military and that our country and that our government has our best intentions at heart. And yeah, a lot of people have woken up, but not enough of them that we could even be a fighting force against this evil that we cannot see. And that's my t-shirt that God gave me in Pittsburgh, is that we need to walk by faith and not by sight. And during the 3 days of darkness is when we will be tested truly in our faith, to see if our faith will stand. And that's why I said in the previous video that I had things in my life still that are evil things I should not have had as a Christian in my life. And it might seem so simple, like just having like an Xbox at your house. And to me, maybe you think that's bad to, like, super bad to do, but to me it was like nothing, because I come from the gutter. I come from a barbarian type family where that's nothing compared to what they're doing, but I'm not them, and I shouldn't be doing that type of stuff at all. I shouldn't have anything to do with that kind of stuff, especially with what I know about the video I did about the movie Doom, where they have a 24th chromosome that chooses, like, based on your soul, if you're going to be evil or good or not. And I did that, like, talking about how the thing that happened in 2020 is fully related to that, and the Kobe Bryant assassination and all that stuff is all related, and it's all numerically accurate, and they predicted it to happen in other shows and TV shows and movies and stuff. They are actively using television and movies to, before it would be a couple of months before the thing happened, but now it's like the day before the movie is there. The day before the movie is there. It's like it's sequential to our timeline now that these things are coming out. Before it was predictive, now it's happening real time. And when I had the 3 days of darkness dream, reading about how they tortured the Israelites and how they did that, where they tricked them into having the babies come out of the walls using Hebrew, teaching the Egyptian kids Hebrew, the miraculous things that God did for the babies to keep them safe. He like put them in the ground and planted them like corn, and he let their hair grow out, so their own hair would become a nest that they would sleep on, and he would give them 2 stones to drink from, like it was milk and honey, so that they could survive until they were around 3, 4, 5 years old. And then they would end up being, sorry, one second. And then they would be old enough where they could walk from the cornfield back to their homes, and then they wouldn't be babies anymore, so they don't need to be murdered. So that you'd think that they just grew up in their own house and they were children that were allowed to be there, type of thing. That's what God was doing, so they could, and then they kept asking, why do they keep multiplying? I can't figure it out. Why? And that's why God did that, to keep them safe. And these things, they seem like crazy miracles that you're reading when you read these books, and you're like, oh, that makes more sense now, why that was happening and why this was happening and stuff. And there's more that goes into like the staff that Moses had turning into a giant dragon to eat the other small snakes, because Janus and Jambres didn't have the kind of power that God has, obviously, but they had a lot of magic power. If you read about the fact that they couldn't be overcome until, like, I think it was like Michael and Gabriel couldn't defeat them or something, or one of the angels couldn't defeat them, so then Michael had to come down and beat them or something like that. And it was like a higher angel had to come down to beat them, because that's how much magic power that they had. And I told you, magic power comes from Satan telling a man to sacrifice his firstborn child, a male child, in order to gain magical power. and since then, that magic has exponentially grown because of how many children have been sacrificed, which is why God cast the Israelites out in the first place. And if you see the men that are online that talk about the different things that are going to happen in the end times, if you hear the stuff that's going to happen and what it does to people that have been prophesying that this is going to happen because they've seen it, I can attest that it is very, very frightening. Most of the men that talk about this that are older men, they cry when they say these things because it is sad to see the destruction that is going to come upon the earth. But the dream that I had about this is that Trump is working for the Pharaoh to imprison people and keep them in bondage. Trump does not want to release the prisoners. He is not on your side. He's not a Christian. He is a Jew. And who killed our Christ? Who covered it up? Who covered it up that Jesus and all the patriarchs were walking around on the earth together as a witness that he resurrected all those people from the dead? Who is it that did this? It's the Jews paid off the Romans. And who runs the world? The Jews and the Romans. And so if you find out that Mel Gibson, who wrote The Passion of the Christ, and you think, oh, he's against the Jews and he's not part of it, Mel Gibson is part of it. He's a Catholic, and so is Mark Wahlberg, and they want to create some film studio where they're going to have unbiased information, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. Because if they're not preaching the one true gospel, then they're not preaching the truth. And if they're not for the truth, then they're against the truth. And the truth is what sets you free. And it's Jesus, the fullness of the word, Christ, the highness of his word, the highest part of his word, which is that certain books were left out of the Bible so that you didn't know the full story. Because if you did, it was too obvious. But Jesus let himself be taken at Gethsemane. He let himself be taken so that by being taken, by the words being taken out, at the end of a time when more people were alive and more people are yearning for the truth because there's so much deception, more people could be saved and the harvest would be great. And he said to pray that more people be called for this harvest. When they interview other people from other countries, they say, what is America great for? And people say school shootings. That is our legacy. Our legacy is school shootings. That's what people think of us. We aren't great for anything else. Make America great again for what? America, land of the feathered serpent, has gone around the world for the past 100 years, and decimated populations because they wanted to be the superpower in the world. Raytheon is only like 50 miles away, where they make the bombs to destroy other countries for things they didn't even do because Bush did 9/11. The Muslims didn't do 9/11. Not that they don't want to kill us, I'm not saying that, but it's all trickery. It's all been fake. Bush is part of Skull and Bones Society, which is basically a movie that Paul Walker did originally, where he dies and then he gets murdered in a Porsche accident where they probably doctored his brakes because he was going to come out about them trafficking children in Haiti. And nobody talks about this, and it's not a conspiracy theory. All of a sudden, John Podesta's illegitimate child, the lead singer of Linkin Park, Paul Walker, Anthony Bourdain, who was dating a witch that knows Hillary Clinton, whose father made horror movies that are like the worst horror movies that you could possibly imagine, who was in Triple X with Vin Diesel. Like, all these women are the ones that are like the handlers for these men, and all of a sudden they were going to come out about child trafficking, and they're all dead simultaneously. The lead singer of Soundgarden, all these people, they're just dead because they were doing a documentary about child trafficking. And then we have a man-made DARPA influence, HARP influence flood in Texas that has never happened before, and all of a sudden a bunch, like 20 girls go missing. Don't talk about it on the news a week later, not even in the news. It's like pour them, light a candle, done. Next story. And there's video that listeners have sent to me. I didn't even see it myself. A listener sent a picture of the girls on the back of a military convoy truck, all of them the same faces as the ones in the milk carton pictures that they put up. They're all on this military truck, taken where? Either it was an op or they were taken as child trafficking people. Like, what? And nobody's investigating it. Who has time? Who has time to investigate it? None of us do. I barely can make my bills every month. Right? And what, am I not in the same boat as you? I'm saying, like, do we have? And even if we could, like it says in the Jason Bourne movie, do you really think that you could say it fast enough and loud enough from a podium that anybody would actually listen to you? Do you think that you would get to the masses fast enough and loud enough before they got to you, that it would actually matter when everybody cares about their boats, their cell phone, they're going back to college, that doesn't matter where they get brainwashed, they're going back to their, winter homes or their summer homes or wherever they're going. They don't care about it. They don't care. They care for the day because they want to wear a bracelet or a necklace or a pin on their chest saying they support this thing and that thing. And the next thing that comes, they're supporting that, and they don't even know where Ukraine is on a map, and they don't even know anything about the world around them. They don't know about history. They don't even know their own history. They don't even remember a week ago, and they're supporting things that they don't understand, like Muslims supporting the LGBT community. Like they want to kill them all. That makes no sense. So anyways, God bless you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. Please take care. Thanks for listening.